All right, we are now in lesson 2.1, and this is about translating symbols to sentences and sentences to symbols. But right now, we are going to use a logical argument. All right, first, a conditional statement is a statement that can be written in if-then form. So make sure that you recognize this if-then statement. It means that you will have if, and then you will have a statement, then you will have another statement. So here is an example. So we have here if, then. Okay? So if you go to the movies, then you will buy popcorn. So this is an example of an if-then statement. Next, conditional statements have two parts. So conditional statements have two parts and look like the hypothesis statements from your science class. So conditional statements have two parts. You will have your if and then. After your if, that will be your hypothesis. And after then, that will be your conclusion. So a conditional statement consists of hypothesis and conclusion. All right, let's have some example. Let's try to underline hypothesis. And then let's just circle. Okay? Let's just circle. And then circle the conclusion so that we can identify right away which is statement and your conclusion. So now we are going to have some examples. Let's go ahead and underline the hypothesis, but we are going to circle the conclusion. So whenever you see a conclusion, you put a circle around it. Okay? So all of these are examples of conditional statements. And the best way to identify your hypothesis is that it is after your if. So if, this will be your hypothesis, and then your conclusion is after your then. This is your conclusion. If an animal is a dolphin, then it is a mammal. Again, second, if, this will be your hypothesis, this will be your statement. If you go to the movies, that is your hypothesis, then conclusion is you will eat popcorn. Now remember, these are just statements, okay? And we are trying to identify hypothesis and conclusion. If, this will be your hypothesis, then kids go to trick or treating will be your conclusion. Then, this will be your conclusion. If, it means that this is your hypothesis. And finally, if, meaning this will be your, yes, hypothesis, then this will be your conclusion. All right? Very good. Now, you need to be able to identify the hypothesis and conclusion from a conditional statement. Okay? Remember, conditional statements have two parts. We have the if, which is the hypothesis statement, and then the conclusion. All right, next, we should be able to turn a sentence into a conditional statement by writing it in if-then form. So here's an example. Puppies are baby dogs. So how are we going to write this using the if-then statement or if-then form? So if an animal is a puppy, then it is a baby dog. So we use this as our hypothesis, and then let me use underline here. We use this as our hypothesis, and this as our conclusion. All right, go ahead. Try doing the second example. Studying went well. Studying well will get you good grades. So how are you going to write this using an if-then form? All right, go ahead. Okay, the correct example or the correct answer here is that if I study, what will be the conclusion? Then I will get good grades. So this is our hypothesis. This is our conclusion. Next example. Oreos are a type of cookie. So how are we going to write this as an if-then form? All right, if I have an Oreo, what can we conclude? Then I have a cookie. All right, there we go. That is our conditional statement. Next, we are going to learn how to translate verbal statements to symbols. All right, so we usually use letters to represent your if-then statement. Your hypothesis, the one that we usually underline, is represented by P, and then the conclusion that we usually circle is represented by Q. Now we can use other letters, but in our example, we are going to use letters P and Q. So P, this arrow means implies, okay? P implies Q is used to represent if, P, then Q. All right, so we have here different symbols that we have to memorize. Whenever you see this symbol, it means that we have an if and then your then statement. Okay, that is your conditional statement. And then if we have this symbol, okay, we call that one your biconditional. Biconditional. And we usually read this one as if and only if. Okay? Next, this symbol is just a negation. That is not. Okay? This three dots here is your conclusion, or we can also say therefore. We read this one as therefore. This one, it's your end. It's easy to remember because of the letter A. Okay, that's your end. And finally, the last one, this is your or. And the symbol for or is this, like your letter V. All right, let's go ahead and translate the following verbal statements into symbolic form. We are going to use all of these symbols, okay? So here, P represents your I eat tacos. Q represents your I am full. Okay, now, it says here that I do not eat tacos. So we are going to negate your P because P stands for I eat tacos. Here we are using the not statement. So now I'm going to rewrite this. Instead of P, it will be not P. Okay? Then, okay, then is represented by this symbol. I am full. that is exactly your statement Q. Let me just write my, let me write this one. Then I am full, it's exactly your letter Q. So that will be the representation, symbolic form of statement number 1. Okay, number 2. Let me see. Okay, I am full. Okay, I am full, meaning that is your Q. So starting with Q. Now we are using if and only if. And what is if and only if? This will be your symbol. If and only if I eat tacos, which is exactly your P. All right, number 3. I am full, meaning that is just your letter Q. I am full. We are using and. And is using this symbol. I eat tacos, which is your letter P. So this is your Q and P. Number 4, I did not eat tacos. That is just the negation of your P. So we are going to use negate P, or, meaning this symbol, or I am full, which is your letter Q. Next, I eat tacos, and that is your letter P. Then, so that's just this symbol, I am full. All right, so there we go. Now go ahead and try the first example. Okay, I'll give you a minute or two to figure out the first one. Now remember, P here stands for it rains on Friday. Q is the soccer game is canceled. Okay, go ahead. Number 1, how do we rewrite this using our symbolic form? All right, so here, just have to identify what is if it rains on Friday. That's exactly your P. Then, it will be this symbol. So we have an if-then statement. The soccer game is canceled. So exactly your Q. So you will have your conditional statement if P then Q. All right, next. The soccer game is canceled. So let's look at that. Is that P or Q? The soccer game is canceled is exactly your Q. If and only if. Go back. What is if and only if? Go back to your notes. Yes, if and only if is actually your, yes, by conditional statement, this symbol. And then, so this one over here is the symbol if and only if. Your by conditional. If and only if. It rains on Friday. That is exactly your statement P. All right, number 3. If the soccer game is not canceled. So we are using not here, okay? That is a negation. Okay? The soccer game is not canceled. That is the negation of your Q. So I am going to negate my Q right now. It does, I wrote it in the wrong spot. So not Q. Okay, or maybe let me rewrite this one here. Not Q. Okay, or in our notation, we are actually using this one over here. Not Q. Okay. Yeah, sometimes they use the symbol not, sometimes this one. Okay, so if you see this notation, that is actually also your not. All right. Not Q, which is if the soccer game is not canceled, then is this symbol. It rains on Friday, which is your letter P. Number 4, it does not rain on Friday. So this is just the negation of your statement P. So I am going to use not P. It does not rain on Friday, and so that is your symbol and. The soccer game is not canceled. So the soccer game is canceled is your Q. We are using not, so not Q. All right, that's your number 4. Number 5, go ahead. Try number 5. The soccer game is canceled, which is exactly your Q. Or, so how do we write or? This should be your or. It does not rain on Friday. So we have a negation here. Does not. So not P. Okay. So there we go. Good job, guys. All right. Now let's try translating from symbols to verbal statement. Yes, we are going to write a lot on this particular example. Now, P represents it is October. We are using capital P right now. And then Q, the leaves change color. Okay, so it says here, Q implies, okay, not P. Right? So Q first, which is this one. So the leaves change color. I'm going to use this. What's the meaning of that? Okay, so it means that I will start with if here, and then. Then not P. That is not P. Then it is not October. Okay, so if Q, which is the leaves change color, then it is not October, which is just the negation of your P. All right, number 2. So this is P by conditional, not Q. Okay, so starting with P, how do we write this one? P, it is October. It should be a capital letter. By conditional, if, and, only if. Okay, sometimes we use this one, IFF, to represent if and only if. Not Q. So how do we write that one? Not Q. This is your Q, and I have to negate this one. If and only if the leaves do not, okay, do not change color. Okay, number 3. P, what is this? Or and? Remember, and is easy to spot because we can just think of your letter A. So this is not and, that's an or. So P or Q. So how do we write P or Q? So P, it is October. That's or. The leaves change color. Okay, let me rewrite color. Okay, finally, number 4. How do we write number 4? That's not P, so we have to negate this. Okay, it is not October. That's symbol for and. we just have to copy Q, and Q says the leaves change color. All right? So notice that we only have the word if then here. If you see this statement, that's your conditional statement, the if then statement. Okay? All right. Now you try. So I have here P, it is raining. Q, we will play lacrosse. And then R, we will not have swim practice. Okay? Do number one. Okay, look at this symbol. That's an if-then statement. So I'll just say if, and then. Okay, R. What is R? If you can just cut this one and paste it here, then we are done. Okay, because that's all that we need to do. Okay, cut and paste. So let me just cut that right now. So I can just cut this if R okay, if R, if we will not have swim practice, then it says not P. So we have to negate it is raining. So how do we negate it is raining? This time I cannot just copy and paste P because we have to negate that. Then it is not, okay, raining. Good. Number two, Q, that symbol is a biconditional statement, right? Or biconditional symbol, meaning we are going to use if and only if and only if. Okay? So Q, I'll just have to copy whatever my statement Q is. So we will play lacrosse without the period. So we will play lacrosse. Let's remove the period. If and only if R. And what is R? We will not have swim practice. All right. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Your turn. Number three. All right. For number three, it says not R. I need to negate my R. Now remember, this is we will not have swim practice. To negate your R is like your double negative. Okay. We will not, okay, have swim practice. So it means that if you have to negate a negation, we just have to just remove your not, okay? So not or means we will have swim practice. That symbol is or. Q, okay, we can just copy your Q. We will play lacrosse. All right. Number four, go ahead, your turn. Yes, not Q, meaning we are going to negate we will play lacrosse. So how do we negate this one? We will not play lacrosse. Look at the spelling here. Lacrosse. Okay, let me make this smaller. Maybe 12. Okay, so that's your not Q. Q is, where's the Q again? Q is we will play lacrosse. We have to negate that. We will not play lacrosse. That symbol is what? And or R? Yes, it's and. And then P, what's your P again? We just have to make sure we are copying the right statement. P, it is raining. So we can just exactly copy this and then paste it, and we have our answer. All right, there we go.